Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Stop Watering Dead Flowers with me, Chris Forbes. Before this week's episode, I just wanted to do a bit of shameless plugging for my Glasgow Comedy Festival show, which is on sale now. I will be doing a work-in-progress show called Father Christmas at the Stand Comedy Club on Friday the 27th of March. This is a pretty unique show. It is all about Christmas and is set at Christmas. The whole theme of the show is Christmas, but with a twist. If that sounds appealing to you, please come on down and check it out. In the meantime, please enjoy this week's wonderful episode. I went on a third date with this guy I actually liked. Cute, funny, seemed normal, which is rare. We had dinner, a few glasses of wine, and things were going really well. After dinner, I popped to the bathroom to freshen up, lip gloss, hair check, the usual. When I came out, I saw him standing near the bar, so I went over, wrapped my arms around him from behind, and I said, "Miss me already?" Except it wasn't him. It was a completely different man. The real date was standing a few feet away watching the whole thing. The stranger looked mortified. I apologised 100 times, and my actual date just said, "At least you have options." There was no fourth date. That story sent in from Sophie from Bristol. Thank you very much. Please keep sending in your own wee stories. And welcome back to another episode of Stop Watering Dead Flowers. Stop watering dead flowers. I'm delighted to say this week's guest is the wonderful Colin McCredie. How are you?
Good, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well.
I feel sorry for Sophie.
It is a bit of a heartbreaking one.
She didn't do that much wrong.
Adding in the wee details of even when she put it in brackets, rare, that she'd found a nice guy.
I feel sorry for Sophie.
Yeah, you're better off, Sophie. If that's all it took for her, I don't know. Go back to the guy you hugged. This is great to have it. I mean, you're one of these people that sometimes, as I say at the start, to try and sound professional, by way of introduction, but I feel like you're a kind of a national icon almost as well.
Stroke has been.
No, not at all. But as a brief intro, I guess we could say star of, stage and screen as well. Over a number of years, you've been in so many productions, Taggart obviously as well, River City, parts in Outlander, and on stage you've done loads of stuff. I remember even seeing when you were cast as Scrooge as well.
Yeah.
I was like, what a cool bit of casting.
I was too young.
No,
I was too young and too nice for that.
I don't know if it's the wrong thing to say. Say, no, you're not too young, as in you can do well, or that sounds like, no, you're old enough.
I felt too young,
Yeah.
But then I still took the part.
Aye, of course.
But actually, when I did read the original Christmas Carol, and you work out that Scrooge actually isn't that old.
Aye.
I think he's always portrayed
For their time.
Yeah, I think he probably was in his very early 40s, unlike me. But yeah, he probably wasn't that old, but he's often portrayed as being older, so I think I was probably spot on.
Do you have it seems like such a silly question, but do you have a preferred medium? Have you preferred the TV stuff or stage? I mean, sometimes the immediacy of stage work is...
I prefer the better paid,
The paycheck,
picked up, fed residuals.
Yeah, good
to the get your own way at the theatre, do 12 shows a week, don't get paid very much, have to get your own cups of tea.
It's mad.
But I do like the intimacy of it, yes.
It's mad. When you mention stuff like that, people sometimes ask, I think people, that are curious about the behind the scenes stuff of like the TV world, and they hear about trailers and getting fed and stuff. They're lovely perks, but you'll be someone that definitely has experienced the difference between like a BBC Scotland version of that to then you've done parts in like Outlander and maybe seen it on a bigger scale.
Yeah,
and it does change. That can be changed.
Yeah, I think things have become. Also, I think we all think as actors that they're being very nice to us by feeding us, by picking us up in the morning, by giving us trailers. But in fact, they pick us up in the morning so that we're not late.
Yeah.
They give us food so that we don't leave set and are not available. And they put us in trailers so they know where we are.
Yeah, that's
They're not
true.
doing that out of any kind of general niceness. It's a control thing.
That's like, I've never really thought about it like that. But
That's why you get put in a hutch and left all day.
We're unreliable.
Yeah. The sad in the past, often trailers, like when we did Taggart, we always had a big sort of trailer and everyone would be in it together, and it was more like a green room.
Yeah.
So it was more sociable thing. But now on jobs, it's pretty much they have these kind of hutches, which you'll know, like 3 ways and 4 ways, and you just have your own little room, and it can be a wee bit. You can sit all day and not speak to anyone.
Yeah.
There's something quite good in the past about putting everyone together and just being able to chat.
Yeah, that's
you then
nice.
go and chaff people. Hello, can I come in for a chat? You just feel all lonely.
I feel like I almost feel guilty to say I'll ask you one question about Taggart, but the question I was almost going to ask was, does it ever get to the point where it's annoying that people ask you about Taggart, or is it more annoying that people say, oh, does it get annoying if people bring up Taggart, or is it just something that you don't mind because it was such a cool thing to be involved in?
It's the kind of weird thing is people still say there's been a murder.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's the thing that like.
And does that get old?
Well, as if anyone could think it would be original. Do you know what I mean? That people actually say it as if it's like might be the first time you've heard it.
Yeah.
And I do feel as if sometimes you want to be like Richard Wilson and Father Ted. But the best times when people get it wrong. There was a guy that came up to me once on a train and went, I bet you get this. He's quite a well-to-do guy going to the rugby. And I bet you get this all the time. Has there been a killing?
No way.
I went, no, that's the first time anyone has ever said that to me.
Do you know, it's not by any means near that level of infamy in that particular line, but me and Grado spoke about this as well when he was on here, but Scott Squad, the thing that everybody says, and as cast we always joke about this, and even my mum will joke about it, people always come up to us and say, oh, you're from that police squad, aren't you? And they've never got the title right. It's amazing.
Well, there must be a flaw if people always get it wrong.
With marketing wise. But I mean, it's about the police. So
I was always disappointed that you never got like someone that cast the Taggart on it. I always thought that would have been like quite a funny scenario.
God, how did we not do that?
I was always waiting on the call.
I can't. Now that you say that, it seems like such an open goal.
I know, but it was. I know.
Shame on us.
I know. You missed it. You could have had the hilarious chat for you guys. Has there been a murder?
That would, and a great line would have been someone getting it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
There's been a killing.
Maybe for the spin-off. Oh no, there is one already. Maybe for the next spin-off.
Jack's got his own spin-off. Yeah. Well, it's great. I feel like you've done. The other thing I wanted to mention. This was purely my own curiosity, being a father as well. But you've got to work with your own child, is that right?
Yes, children.
CBeebies.
Yeah, we did a CBeebies show called Willie and Tig.
What was that like, getting to work with your kids?
Not good.
No.
No. You go to work to get away from your family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you go away to like not be somebody's dad. You go so that you can potentially flirt with the makeup artist.
Yeah.
Not that you like to do that anymore. But no, it was very strange. It was I'd been away and my wife had taken both my daughters to an audition for it because I wouldn't have let her do that. And it was just a pilot and it was like one day. So Betsy was like only like 3.5 and they thought she was really good. And because Maisie was a bit older, they thought Maisie could do the voiceover.
Right.
And it was originally Mark Cox of Still Game fame was meant to be the dad.
Right.
And then when they found out that the actual dad was an actor, I got the part. So Mark lost the part. And I remember being in a coffee shop once, Mark coming up to Betsy and like she going, you cost me a job. How could we do this? And your dad's getting residuals. And,
no way.
But Mark, to be fair, got 4 or 5 guest parts.
Oh, did he?
So
that's good.
It's good. It's one of these things that on YouTube, there's an episodes of it that have had over 200 million views.
Oh, really? Oh, the kids' TV stuff is mad, isn't it?
It's mental. If you add up all the Willie and Tigs on YouTube, it's like billions of views.
Oh my days!
Which
need to get into more kids' TV.
I know. So yeah, it's still an iPlayer. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
That's it.
In small terms.
I need to get my daughter just into those acting classes, and she's got a dad to see her.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way.
Yeah. I feel like because we work in these particular industries, I feel like everyone within the arts to some degree is kind of haunted by the very stories that this podcast is all about. Is that the case with you? Are you haunted, or are you someone that lets go of things quite easily?
I think they hang about.
Yeah.
But I try to, anything embarrassing, I try to forget as quickly as possible.
Bury it, but repress it.
Thankfully, you brought them all out overnight to bring them out the depth of my soul. But I mean, we all make mistakes. We all put our foot in it, and sometimes I really like it when it's other people that do it.
Yeah,
but it's not so good when it's you.
No. Well, let's look at your first one. We traditionally always start with a childhood one. If you managed to fish one out, was there something from your past, from childhood, that stuck out, or was there somewhere else you would like to begin?
No, there's a memory that still haunts me to this day, going back to about 1980, 1981. I was probably about 8 or 9, and I received as a birthday present a digital watch, which was like, we are talking
big thing then.
It was like the way forward.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was from another world.
Yeah.
This was kind of pretty early Star Wars days.
Right.
Like, and it was a Casio one, and it was basic. It had a stopwatch.
Oh wow.
And I think that was about it. And you would actually play a game where you would like try and stop it on the seconds.
Oh,
so sort
right.
of like 1, 2, or 10.
Yeah.
And I got this Casio digital watch for what would have been my 8th or 9th birthday. And it was plastic. It was probably very cheap, but
at the time,
we didn't get quite a lot. We certainly weren't spoiled when I grew up. You know, we got lots of hand-me-down things, but this was a big deal, getting the Casio digital watch. And I'd had it for possibly less than a week. And I went out one Friday night, out playing football, and I came back in with no digital watch.
Oh no.
And I had to come out about it. I had to tell my dad, and my now sadly passed away now. But this was the old days when there wasn't really much sympathy, so I got the full over the knee.
Oh no!
Over the knee,
proper
for these,
smacking.
the proper
slipper of newspaper,
hand on bum. Much to my older brother's amusement,
of course.
He thought this was fantastic. So of course the next day I go out looking for the performance, never find it. And this, to be fair, stayed with me. It was a good life lesson. Don't lose things because you're going to get like,
I tell you what,
a hot bum,
your
so to speak.
Your brother probably took it just so he could enjoy you getting a smacking.
Well, that's where the story now develops.
No.
So this obviously haunted my childhood, and obviously I never lost another digital watch again.
Yes.
And then about literally 25 years later, 30 years later, the subject came up.
Right.
Like a family do about it. I remember the time Dad put me over his knee when I lost the digital watch.
Yeah.
And then my brother came out. He went, "Oh, you do know Paul Charlton up the road found it."
You're kidding.
I went, "What?" He went, "Oh yeah, I went into school on the Monday. And Paul Charlton up the road said, has anyone in the street lost like a digital watch?
No
because
way.
I found it." And I was like, "And what did you do?" He went, "Nothing." He said, "Because I just thought it was so hilarious." I went, "You didn't tell him that it was your wee brother's?" He went, "No, it was too good because I knew that like it was like the funniest thing ever, you losing it." And he let him keep it.
No way.
And it's so...
And he's known that for the last 25 years
and told me. And again, if I ever meet Paul Charlton, I'm going to say to him, you got my digital watch. So that's what made it worse.
Oh my days.
It was found and it could have been brought back.
Redemption was there.
Yeah, I've never forgiven my older brother for not saving the watch.
Was he an older brother?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of well played to him in terms of brotherly rivalry. I mean, that's a pretty good one.
But you think you would at least gone, "Oh, that's my wee brothers." By that point, I'd still...
Yeah, you'd had the smacking.
I'd still had the smacking and the embarrassment, and he'd still got to watch that. But yeah, he let it go.
We need to find out if that Paul guy is still about and remembers.
I think he is. I think he is. So I'm gonna, if I ever see him, I'm gonna say. So yeah, that's haunted me.
Wow, that is unbelievable. The fact that it came out so much later is even funnier.
It was honestly 30 odd. So that was 90. Yeah, it was probably well into the 2000s before.
Wow.
My brother told me.
A cold case solved.
Yes, cold case.
That is wild. And it's kind of That's frustrating to know. You say your dad's sadly passed away, that he didn't find out that it wasn't fully lost.
I think he was still alive. He found out.
That's good.
And I think he thought it was quite funny as well.
That's a beautiful
He would go, I didn't do that, did I? And you're like, yes, you did. No, I don't think I did that. Yes, you did.
That's lovely to find out that he knew that someone had found it. That's funny.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the story of the with Paul Riley of the framed FUD?
No.
That's another cold case of Scottish entertainment that needs solved.
The framed FUD? I don't think I have.
So Paul shares this story in his one of his shows that he does. But about 15, 20 years ago, we were filming Taggart.
Right.
Down in the East End, down on London Road, near a well-known shop, which I think was called like Funland or something. And it kind of sold like jokes and novelties, but also had like adult fun.
Okay.
And we were filming outside, and Paul Riley, Winston still game, appears.
Yeah.
Stops me and Alex Norton, starts chatting away. Have you had a really good laugh? Paul's hilarious. Chatting away. And he goes, right, I'll let you get back to filming. So we go off into the scene. I walk in, start filming the scene, and I had an overcoat on over my like suit, and I put my hand into my overcoat pocket. There's something in the overcoat. So they go cut and pull out what's in that shouldn't have been in my overcoat. And there's a little gold frame with a cut out vagina in a gold frame with a little stand. And I'm like, where did that come from? How did that get in my costume? How did that get there? And I couldn't. And then I was like, does this got anything to do with you? And I was, nothing to do with me. That's in my costume. How did it get there? And of course, he went, Paul Riley.
Yeah.
So of course, I go back, get on the phone to Paul Riley. I went, Paul, did you put a framed FUD into my costume? And of course, he's like, no, I didn't do it. So to this day, he denies.
Oh, still?
He still denies, and he still does. He does it now as part of his show. And I went to see the show recently, and he had me in the audience. And to this day, he still refuses to believe that he did it.
He's prime suspect.
So we're still trying to get to the bottom of the framed FUD.
Need to get a confession out of him.
I know.
It must be.
Oh, it was the funniest thing ever.
He's framed you with a framed FUD.
I know, it's brilliant.
That is mad. I feel like I've heard a lot, and from the few times where I've met Paul, I feel like he has done a lot of brilliant
wind-ups,
practical jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In fact, there's actually one where, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing this, and Darren shared it himself on his live shows and podcasts, where Darren Connell, the comic, when he was starting out, one of his earliest pieces of material was he had a joke about who was the gangster, the gerbil. Or something.
Oh yeah,
the gerbil or something. He did a wee joke about him.
That was brave.
A throwaway comment back in the day, and Bridges, Kevin Bridges was pally with Paul a wee bit as well, and he knew Darren, and he was with Darren. And he said, "Oh, I'm meeting Paul. Do you want to say hello?" But he'd said to Paul before, like, he does a joke about Paul the gerbil, the hitman, you know. And so when he turned up, Paul pretended that he was related to the guy and that he'd heard the material and that he was raging, and Darren was shitting himself, you know.
Paul is like honestly one of the funniest, and he'll do wind-ups over years to get people. So that was Paul. Paul is, and he's now got for his show he got some of them made.
Oh really?
So he went out and that's part.
Oh, it's a big thing now.
It's now. Yeah, he sells them, I think.
Well, a nice place to then move into a career story perhaps then as well. I mean, the watch thing, that set you up for a fall early life, but moving into maybe a story from your career, and it doesn't necessarily have to be from the acting world, maybe there was jobs before, but is there something that haunts you in particular that's happened?
This goes back to when I was at drama school, so it was the start of my career when you weren't getting paid. And I went to the RSAMD, which is now the Conservatoire. And in third year, we were doing one of our final shows, and it was a play. It wasn't a very good play. It was called Fen. It was by Carol Churchill.
Right.
It was set around kind of the Fenlands, and it was just a bit dreary. And I got cast in it, and I was like playing one of the women's husbands who was meant to be a farmer. But in the stage directions of the play, which was like possibly the most exciting thing about it, it said that my character entered on a tractor.
Oh, here we go.
And of course, I was like, oh God, this is going to be, how are we going to do that?
Yeah.
And the show was being directed by the then head of movement, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to represent entering on a tractor through the medium of dance. But it was on the big stage in the conservatoire, and it's a really big stage. And it was announced that we were going to get an actual tractor.
No.
Like a small one.
Aye, but a real
like
tractor?
a practical tractor.
Wow.
Like, big enough to sit on.
Aye.
Like bigger than a kind of lawnmower one, but
You could drive it on
actual
there.
tractor. And I got to drive, and I had to drive it onto stage at the start of the play, get off, do a scene, get back on and drive off, which in theory seems fine when like there's no audience there, and you don't then have to do lines and things like that and get back on and not stall. So it was possibly the best entrance I've ever had in a show. And at that point at college, my nickname had been, because I was one of the younger ones, and I did look quite young. Right. I was referred to as the boy actor. And there was a well-known Scottish actor called John Kazak, who was knocked about. He'd left drama school at the time, but he used to go to the pub with us. And John then christened me with the name The Boy Tractor. And to this day, John will go, there's the Boy Tractor. So that was all going well. That was fine until during one of the shows, I came on, delivered the scene, back on, and drove off into the wings, but obviously the wings are dark.
Yeah.
And as I drove off, I went over the foot of one of the stage management students, a girl called Jen, I think her name was, in the middle of the show. I drove over her foot in a tractor. But obviously then had to and she's like, screw it. And obviously you then had to go and keep doing the show.
The show must
then she was
on.
never seen again.
Oh my day. That is the epiphany of the show must go on if you had to go back on after.
I was fine though, but yeah. And and to this day there's still part of me thinks, did I really go over her foot, or did she just make it bigger? But yeah, that was a tractor over someone's foot wasn't the highlight.
I mean, I feel like, to be fair, having an actor having to drive a tractor off stage, that's
not even a real. Yeah, that
was an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, I've still got a Polaroid of me on aforementioned tractor. But yeah, that was one that you kind of think back to and go, oh. And of course, people do remind me of the fact that I drove over a fellow stage management student's foot.
And you never know what became of her.
No, I think I probably ended her stage management career.
Well, I mean, a nice claim for fame to her. Years later, she wouldn't have appreciated it at the time, but she might have been watching and something going, that guy ran over my foot on a tractor
that I've now had amputated.
But what a random story.
It was the best prop ever.
Oh, my
tractor.
days.
Yeah,
that is cool. On the stage.
On a stage.
That's impressive. Whoever was in charge of that.
It didn't end well though.
I was amazed that I got to do Parahandy at Pitlochry Theatre. And it was it Becky Minto?
I know Becky. Yeah,
the boat she built,
a real boat,
really looked incredible on her. But it was a stationary thing. The fact that you actually got to drive a tractor on a stage, that's blown my mind.
Yeah, I also did a show at Pitlochry during lockdown, and it was outside. It was Wind in the Willows, and there was a practical electric charabang, so it was meant to be like an old fashioned car that lit up, and I got to drive that through the audience. Pretty fast, but again, that was probably my second best actual practical prop in a show, getting to drive. Cool. Yeah, but again, I'm surprised health and safety allowed it, but it was pretty good. And then a couple of times the engine didn't start, and that's the problem is you have all these great ideas, but sometimes it's better to keep it simple and just have a mime steering wheel.
Me and Ashley Smith, my partner in Squad, that was our biggest freak out all the time. Was driving the big truck, the countryside police van, because it was so difficult to drive and always stalling and trying to pull up
and then you got tagged
in a scene. And, it sounds like such a daft thing to complain about, but it really is. It fills you with fear,
When I got the part in Taggart, I couldn't drive, and they went, we would like you to play a detective, but you need to learn to drive. You need to pay for it yourself.
So you had to do like a crash course. But
Yeah, and I failed 3 times.
Oh, really?
And they're going, right, you need to drive like a week on Tuesday. And again, the first day I had to drive in a building site towards a JCB, right, literally passing you. But they also then go, and you have to hit this mark and get out. And you're like, come on, I've just passed my test. It's hard enough hitting a mark walking, but you'll know, like, they'll say, can you just drive up to that spot there, turn, and then you've got you're as an actor, you're trying to hit your mark in a car, and then you've got to get out the car, then you've got to like act, and you're doing is thinking about how you park a car.
You're like, look, mate, I park at the other side of the Asda car park.
I know, and
I
walk.
don't like parking.
I know, exactly. At least in TV, there's always the TV space, so directly outside everywhere you go. No one ever can get a parking space.
Plus, none of them would have known that you, not long ago, had ran over somebody's foot.
I know.
That's a belter, though. That is great. Let's move on to the other one. If you've got one, you don't necessarily have to share one, but we always like to try and pick out a relationship one of some kind. Often the most kind of vulnerable and potentially embarrassing of stories have happened, in intimate kind of moments with other people. Was there any that jumped out at you?
Mine, the one I thought back to, which is a bit of a non-relationship and non-intimate, it goes back to kind of my school days, but it's one of these things that when I think back to, I still... the kind of hot flush.
I can see that already.
Of thinking, why did you ever think this was a good idea? So probably the heady late 80s.
Right.
15, 16.
Nice.
Used to go to Perth Youth Theatre.
Perfect.
For morning. Saturday morning.
What a guy.
And the good thing about it was there was lots of more girls than boys.
Yeah.
And there was a girl there that I was really, really quite fancied, and she was at a different school in Perth. But her friend was in my class at school.
Okay, aye.
So, and at this point, I was
in between.
Yeah, and at this point, I was really into acting and also like the Scottish hip bands of the time.
Okay.
So we're talking like your kind of Pipsway, Love and Money, Deacon Blue, Delamitri.
Nice.
All the sort of cool Scottish bands. So I thought it would be a really good idea to write a kind of love letter quoting a song to this girl that I fancied.
Nice.
So I picked this song by, and I've actually had to, just to make sure I got it right. So it was by Love and Money.
All right.
Great Scottish band. James Grant, still go and see him play. I still see him out at the West End. I know James now, but I've never related the story that. So there was a Love and Money song called You're Beautiful. And I wrote down on a note the lyrics which go, I thought I heard you calling. I could feel the sun again. But now the veil has fallen. It's hit me like the rain. Take my shoes. Take my hands. All I want is a little piece of you. I believe in miracles. Oh, my darling, you're beautiful. And I gave it to this girl's friend who gave it to her. And I don't know why I thought this was a good idea.
Oh, no.
And week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, and then eventually I get a note back to me that went, oh, Colin, that was so sweet. And that was...
End of note.
End of note. But the fact that I quoted these lyrics, wrote them down and sent them, and then to make it even worse, it was my 50th birthday a couple of years ago, and one of my not so kind friends managed to get this aforementioned lady to send me a birthday message.
Oh, no way.
To which she mentioned, oh, and of course, Colin, I remember when you sent me the lyrics to a Love and Money song. So, yes, you're beautiful.
Oh, it was really on the nose, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean,
and it didn't work.
No, that's the shame, because that's a romantic gesture.
It probably was quite sweet, but ineffective. That's the kind of story of my life. Sweet and ineffective.
Yeah. At that age, and everyone's kind of really pretending to be cooler than they are and stuff.
I thought it was so cool.
That to get that note might have been, I don't know. It was very sweet.
It's sweet, but
at that age, maybe just too.
Yeah, I can't bear
too cheesy.
Yeah, and I can't bear to tell the aforementioned James Grant that I wrote one of his lyrics and gave it to someone.
I feel an affinity for you. I've spoken on this before about how I had to pawn Sean for thinking it was really nice to write letters and try to be old school romantic, but often rebuffed for just being quite sad.
See, I'm old enough that when actual letters were things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well.
There was no text messages. There was no emails.
I
had to phone folks' houses.
Yeah.
That was the worst thing.
I did. I maybe had.
Do you remember that?
My first. I don't know what I was going to say. My first 5 years of dating. I never really went on dates, but my first foray into the world of even trying to ask people out was having to phone up, often getting the girl's
house phone, yeah,
and being
yeah.
like, "Can I speak to Karen?"
Who's
so
calling?
They knew that.
Oh my god,
it was horrifying.
It was the worst thing ever.
Horrifying.
And then they'll go, "They're not in. Could you ask them to phone back? Do they have your number?" Oh. No, because they barely even know me.
People don't know how easy they've got it to be able to just do a wee text, "How are you?" And
because
you'd freak out about the phone for ages. You had to make sure your own family members weren't about and trying to get it into another room. It was
you had to wait till after 6 o'clock as well. If like my dad, you weren't allowed to use the phone before 6 o'clock. But yeah.
Well, do you know what? I feel like she was probably, and it sounds like you still know her a bit as well, but shaming her for not writing something more positive back than just "That's sweet." You've poured your heart out there.
I did steal someone else's lyrics, to be fair.
Maybe it was just the wrong song. Maybe she was into different music.
I know, but I just thought it was so cool. Like this cool band that I thought was cool. It just it gives me. Oh.
I hope she still got it somewhere. That'd be brilliant. Just kind of handwritten note with it.
Oh, obviously, of course, she'll have kept it
framed.
It'll be in her archive.
What a shame! Oh my days.
Yeah, so that was that. That's a one that
Did that put you off when you going forward in your dating life? Did it put you off kind of more grand romantic gestures, or did you meet significant others then in more conservative ways?
No, I think I probably still did the mixtapes and things like that.
Nice.
Leaving little notes and things like that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like to hear that.
Yeah. Never worked.
You said, I think, when you were you stories kind of start coming to you once you start to pick the scab of thinking, oh, that does come up every so often. Was there other ones in particular that came up that you'd like to get off your chest today?
Yeah, there's a few that I thought about. I think I've got myself into a few instances of bother. One that came back to me this morning, which is like, again, one of the most embarrassing ones, was again going back to when I was filming Taggart. Quite similar connection to Scottish bands of well, I was going to say of the past, but still selling out the Hydro. Deacon Blue. We were filming Taggart and Lorraine McIntosh.
Nice.
Original, probably best member of Deacon Blue. Lorraine, who's got a very successful acting career, Lorraine was coming in to play a guest part in Taggart, and I obviously, one of the bands that I'd been going to see fan since the 80s, you know, the day Dignity came out, I bought the 7-inch single before they were even big, and I'd been going to see them all through the 80s, you know, still going to see them, they're a brilliant band. So Lorraine got cast in an episode of Taggart.
You were delighted.
And I thought this was, I was just like so thrilled with this. And I made the stupid mistake of telling Alex Norton this, and Alex, a bit like Paul Riley, is quite a bit of a minx and quite a bit of a wind-up merchant. So he was going, so what's the big deal? And I was going, well, it's just that, you know, Deacon Blue were, when I was like 15, they were like the best band in Scotland. I would go and see them all over the time. And obviously, like Lorraine, you know, she was this lovely singer, and, you know, she was, and I said, you know, obviously you had a crush on her. And I said, you know, and I used to go to all the gigs and try and get down the front. I said, I remember one gig, Lorraine came up to me, like, during, when will you make my telephone? She like shook my hand, and I was like, it was like the best. So I told this to Alex in good confidence, and then he was going, I don't really know who they are. I think he was, and he was, oh, bloody stupid. So that was fine. So forgot about it for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and, you know, did a few scenes with Lorraine, and she's delightful, and it was all great and all that. And then we were filming one scene in particular, and they were turning the camera around, and it was quite a quiet moment. And Lorraine said, "Oh, Colin, obviously I know who you are and I've met you and stuff before." I said, but she said, "Did you used to come and see the band?" And I was like, yeah, I did. I used to come and see the band. She went, "Did you ever like did you ever come like gigs in Dundee? I went, well, I grew up in Perth. I said, yeah. I said, I do remember. I said, I remember going to like the Caird Hall in Dundee. She went, would that have been like the three villages in I went, yeah, it was. That's exactly. She went, I remember you. And I was like, what? You remember? She went, I did. She said, I've always known your face from, I knew you were a Deacon Blue fan. And I went, well, actually, I said, she said, were you down the front? Like, did I ever come up to you in a gig? And I was like, yeah, you did. You did. And I went, do you remember this? And she went, yeah, I do. She said, did I come down, like, shake your hand? And I went, yeah, you did, actually. You did, Lauren, you did. And she went, did you take my wedding ring? I went, what? She went, my wedding ring came off that night. I was like, sorry? She went, I shook this guy's hand at the front and my wedding ring came off. And I don't know whether he stole it or pulled it off, but I lost my wedding ring that night. No. And to this day, Ricky's so upset about this. Was that you? And I'm like, no, I don't think, I definitely didn't. And as this goes on, and she was like, she turned honestly like that. Way. And I look, and all I can see is Alex Norton's shoulders shaking in the corner. And then she went, I'm sorry, he made me do it. He set her up.
That is amazing.
To wind me up that I'd stolen her wedding ring at a concert. And not only did he do it, Alex then wrote his book about his life, and he put that story in it.
Oh, that is brilliant. And she really sold it well.
Oh, my God. She's totally sold it.
Oh.
And it was like, I went from being the happiest to the most mortified ever.
Aye.
Yeah.
He has done well.
Oh, it was.
And the fact that you believed her when she was saying, did you cut? And I remembered you all the way through.
She got me to the exact gig, the right tour.
Oh, my days.
And she went, how would I remember someone I shook their hand 40 years ago? I went, well, I can remember. And I didn't take your ring. And it was when she went, Ricky's really upset about that still. I'm like, it wasn't me. It might have been by accident.
Your heroes as well in that moment of thinking, oh no.
Yeah, so that was
well played, Alex Norton.
That was
Lorraine.
one. Yeah, that was one.
Oh,
and again,
my days.
It's in print now as well. It's in Alex's book to make it even more embarrassing for me.
Do you know, at first when you said an embarrassing story related to Lorraine and Deacon Blue, I thought maybe you'd written the lyrics of one of her own songs and given it to us.
No, thankfully not. Thankfully not. No, that would have been bad.
That's a beauty though. I mean, that is a cracker.
Yeah, it was hook, line, sinker.
These have been great. I think those are great. In fact, you should save some so then we can get you back on the podcast hopefully as well another time. But thank you very much for sharing them. Is there anything you've got coming up? Have you anything in the pipeline?
In the pipeline, got a wee bit in I don't know if I can say in something because you're not really meant to say. So I've got something and something you can't say about.
That's all the more intriguing.
It's not a big thing, but it was quite a nice job. And I've got a show that's still on iPlayer at the moment called The Island and Cheelan, which is a 4-part series. That's up for a BAFTA Scotland Award for Best Drama. It was a 4-part drama filmed up in Harris, which was kind of half Gaelic and half English. Brilliant. So I got to be one of the thankfully one of the English speakers, and I got to play a policeman again. It's the first time I've but in uniform, so I was demoted. So it's a 4-part series and Cheelan the Island, and it's worth a watch. Scenery looks brilliant. It's quite a great cast as well.
Perfect.
So give that a wee punt.
Please do, check that out. But ultimately, just thanks for coming on, sharing these stories that are probably very funny to revisit, but also, a bit cringeworthy. But thank you again for everyone else that's listening or indeed watching. A big thank you as always to the Stand Comedy Club, who we do this podcast in association with. Big thanks to Sean Stables sitting over there. You can't see him, but you've heard his name many a time. And Chris Thorburn, our editor. Please do keep listening, watching, like, share and subscribe, all those things you're supposed to do with a podcast. Do consider signing up to the Patreon. It really helps. But if not, just keep coming back. Thanks for listening. Cheers.